Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Oracle DB online training. So today's agenda is understanding of Oracle data guard protection modes. So basically we have learned in the previous video that how to configure a data guard broker. So if you haven't watched those videos, you can visit my YouTube channel and you can cross check those videos. Also, I have make one video on how to create physical standby manually, so you can refer this video also. And I will be requesting you to all new friends to join my subscribe my YouTube channel, and you will be surely getting the best benefit of Oracle database technology, and I will be helping you out every day. So starting with today's session, our focus is on what are the different protection modes that Oracle data guard is having, and why it is important, and how we can implement those things. So basically we have so far created one production and one standby modes, standby machines. Okay, so both are currently running, and these machines are up and running, and just logged in through the mobile extreme, and you can see this is my production environment, that is primary database, and this one is my DR database. So first we'll look at the theoretical understanding, and then we'll later doing some practical session also. So let's start the session. Basically, what are the protection modes and why it is required? This is the question that we should be asking by ourselves. So whenever we talk about the data guard, so first thing we should be coming to mind, what will be my recovery time objects, and what is a recovery point object. So whenever suppose there is some issue happens on the production side, so there should be a time limits within which your recovery time objective should be met, like up to which time you can lose your data. So that will be defined by the recovery time objective, and there is another term called recovery point objective. So this is very critical. So whenever there is a issue happens on the production side, so up to what point your recovery should be met, or the data should be available, that is defined with the help of this something called recovery point objective. So these two terms are very important in whenever we talked about data guards. So they should be kept in the mind. Okay, so the basic function of Oracle data guard is to keep the synchronization copy of a database as a standby, in order to make the provision in case of the primary database is inaccessible to the end users. So these cases are hardware errors or a natural disaster, or and so on. Okay, in other situation, a business cannot afford to lose the data regardless of the circumstances. Okay, in other situation, so there could be a multiple situations. So one of the situation could be data, like business cannot afford to lose data regardless of the circumstances. In other situation, it could be like availability of the database may be more important than the potential data loss. So we have to define data guard in such a fashion that these objectives can be met. So based upon this objective, there are basically three types of protection modes data guard can have. One is called maximum performance, that is our default one. Then we have maximum protection, and then maximum availability. We'll come to all of the we'll look at all these three protection modes one by one. First we'll focus on maximum availability. What do you mean by maximum availability? This is the protection mode provide the highest level of a data protection that is possible without compromising the availability of the primary database. That means you will be getting the maximum protection level without compromising the availability of the primary database. That means your primary database will be not lost, and you will be getting the continuously getting the data in the protected mode. Okay, with Oracle data guards, the transaction do not commit until all the redo data needed to the recover by those transactions. That means you have one primary database, one standby database. So whatever the changes are happening on the production side should be reflected and acknowledged within a certain period of time on the primary sides. So like you will be modifying certain table on the production, and those data should be reflected on your standby database. With those commit changes should be reflected on the standby database, then only your primary database will be moving further. But this is having one clause that says that within a certain period of time this should be happen. If it is not happening, then it will ignore the protection mode and move as a maximum performance mode. So this is one of the thing that we need to understand. So basically I will be at the end I will be giving you brief intro information about all three comparatively, then you will getting the better idea. Okay, so for the time when you should be understanding maximum availability is something that is like a maximum protection mode of your database. There like whatever the changes is happening on the production should be reflected on the standby database, but within a certain period of time. If it is not meeting those time limits, then it will move to further with a maximum performance mode. So this is your maximum availability mode. Okay, this protection mode ensures the data loss except in the case of certain a double faults or such as failure of the primary database after failure of the standby database. So this is one thing. Next comes your maximum performance mode. What it says, this is the default protection modes. It provides the highest level of data protection that is possible without affecting the performance of the primary database. That means whatever the changes is happening on the production, it will continuously pass on to the standby database, but there will be no synchronous messages from the standby database. So whatever the changes is happening on the production, that will be passed on to standby database, but there will be a no acknowledgement at all. So this is the asynchronous behavior of this data guard mode. Okay, so the redo is also written into one or more standby database, but this is done asynchronously with the respect to the transaction commitment. Whatever the transaction is committed, that will be populated to the standby database, no matter how your network is lagging or your RFS process is not able to fetch those data. So it could be any situations, but it will keep on moving your primary database ahead without worrying about your standby database. So this is maximum performance mode. That means your primary database should be performing maximum of the time regardless of your standby database. So this protection mode offers slightly less data protection. So what is we are compromising here? The data. So we are not worrying about the data that is getting changed on the production. We are just moving ahead with your primary database. So this is another mode. Then comes the maximum protection mode. What it says in maximum protection modes, ensure that no data loss occurs if the primary database fails. That means whatever the changes is happening on the production, that should be reflected on the standby database, and it has to be acknowledged fashion. Until and unless it is not getting acknowledged to the primary database. So like whatever, suppose you have one table called test1, okay, on the production side, and now you are making certain changes in the test1 on the primary database, and it is getting reflected on the standby database. So whatever the changes has happened on the production, it should be like uh, those changes should be reflected on the standby, and there has to be an acknowledgement from the standby to the production. Okay, so better what I will do, I will make one I will take one paint and show you the example. Suppose you have one table, so this is your primary database, and there is one another database. This is your standby database. Okay, so this is my primary database, this is my standby database. So suppose there is one table called T1. Okay, so there is some changes has happened, it is reflecting on your standby database. Okay, so whatever the changes has happened on this side should be reflected on standby database, and there has to be an acknowledgement through your RFS process to the LNS process. This is your RFS process will be receiving all the changes. Okay, this is your RFS process, and this will be your LNS process. So whatever the changes is happening on this side should be reflected back to should be having an acknowledgement copy of on the standby database. So this is the one thing that maximum protection mode says. Okay. So until and unless it will not acknowledge, your primary database might be shut down. Okay, within a certain period of time it doesn't acknowledge, then your primary database will be shut down. This is the thing. So in summary, what we can say, what are these how these maximum different modes are controlled, what are the parameters and the clauses that we will be using to meet these protection modes. So basically first is your maximum protection mode. So here we use the clause of sync and LGWR. Okay, what it says, you are moving your database as a synchronization fashion and it should be using a LGWR, whatever LGWR processes will be used. Okay, here the data loss is guaranteed, zero data loss is guaranteed. Okay, then comes your, so the primary database need to be write Dredo to the at least one of the standby, otherwise it will shut down. This is one case. Next come maximum availability. So here we'll be using again sync with LGWR. So we'll come to we'll verify those details later on while doing the practical examples in this same video, and we'll come to know how to this maximum availability, maximum protection, and maximum performance. What are those parameters that we need to modify and do? So you should be looking all the entire video so that you will be better understanding these things. Okay. So in case of maximum availability, normally work with sync redo transport. If the primary database cannot write redo to any of its standby database, it continue to process transaction as a async mode. So here what is happening is there is a transition from sync to async within a certain period of time. That is called the maximum availability. So zero data loss in the normal operation, but not guaranteed. So the term should be understandable. It should be like it is not guaranteed. Here we are seeing the guarantee. Okay, next is maximum performance. So it has a sync and LGWR. So you can use either of these clauses. So it is a sync. This is the difference. Here we are seeing the sync option. So sync is basically a sync, and sync is like a synchronization. A synchronization, there is acknowledgement happening, there is no acknowledgement at all. So never expect acknowledgement from the standby. This is potential for the minimum loss, data loss in normal operation. This is the thing. So I hope you have understood this chart. This is very important to understand the different protection modes. So here we have a zero data loss. There is a zero data loss but not guaranteed. Here we don't have any data loss protection at all. So your data could be lost in this case. So by default, maximum performance, we can modify it to the maximum protection as well as maximum availability. So we'll be looking how to modify and how to check those details. So first thing, we'll verify a protection mode in our current scenario. So we have this database which are up and running. So this is my primary database. This is my standby database. And here we can see the protection mode as a maximum performance mode. Okay. So now what I will do, will verify the parameters what are related to this. So parameter log underscore archive underscore best. So this is my standby database service. Okay, it is sync affirm delay equal to 0. Basically what you can see the sync option also here. In case of maximum performance, you can keep it sync also. Async is a default behavior. Okay, it will work with sync also. So affirm, then delay is 0, operational compression, these parameters are there. Okay, the DB unique name pointing to DR. So this is your parameter. Okay, same thing you can verify on the standby also. So parameter, yeah, there will be a doubt. Sorry, basically we don't have configured this parameter on standby, so that's why we cannot see any value over here. So there will be a doubt of like why it is sync in case of maximum performance mode also. So basically a sync is a default value, you can keep it sync as well. So basically what happened for the testing purpose, I have just performed 1 or 2 times like uh, protection mode changes. So because of that it has changed to sync mode. Even you can like modify this parameter to sync and it will keep on working as a maximum performance mode. So this is one thing. Okay, so now what I will do, I will be checking, I will be changing these protection modes using the DGMGRL utility. So we'll go back to our DGMGRL utility. If you don't know how to configure, you can refer my older videos also. DGMGRL utility is very important, very simple and easy to use utility to manage entire multiple standby database within a single few commands. Okay, so this is my DGMGRL utility. So basically we have to connect to our database. So this is, so you can verify current configuration. So using this command called show configuration, it will show your current configuration. So here we can see this is my primary database. This is my DR, is a physical standby database. So there is something called fast start failure, which is disabled. In upcoming video, we'll be discussing more about what is fast start failure, how it works, and all those things. Okay, so you don't have to worry at all about this fast start failure. So basically we can see our configuration is showing as a success. Okay, that means it is a success state. Next is what we need to check. This is a show configuration. So here we can see the protection mode as a maximum performance mode. So suppose you want to modify this to maximum availability. Sorry, I need to just again copy this into my text pad, and here we go. We'll copy to. So this is my database. We are modifying it from maximum performance to maximum availability. So using this command, we can modify. So what is happening here is that because of your service that was defined, it is using a sync option. You are very easily modify this protection mode from maximum performance to maximum availability. Okay, in case if it was maximum, sorry, if it was async, so what it will do in the background, it will modify this parameter from uh, async to sync. Okay, so as we can see this, using this command edit configuration, set protection mode as maximum availability, it is modified to maximum availability. So we can cross verify or alert logs also. From the alert log we can see that there is a command that is get fired alter database set standby database to maximum availability. So this is what happened on the primary sites. On the standby sites, same command will be executed, and you can see the changing standby control file to maximum availability mode and resynchronization level. So this is consistent, and everything has been, so changing standby control file to maximum availability level. That means your configuration has been uh, completed, like protection mode has been changed. On the standby also we can like manually check, cross verify these values. Okay, this is one thing. Now you can also do the same thing with maximum protection. What I will do, from this I will be firing this command edit configuration set maximum protection, edit configuration set protection. So again you can cross verify these parameters using show configuration. So here we can see maximum protection. Okay, again we'll go back to our standby. Here we can verify this is the maximum protection. Okay, I will go to SQL prompt from here. I will just cross verify using SQLPlus also. It's very simple, but sometimes it causes a little bit of problem. So this is my maximum protection. What I will do, I will just fire this command show parameter log archived as 2. So here you can see it is sync affirm. So maximum failure is 0, reopen. So all these details are there. Okay. So whatever that this very important parameter async, sorry, sync says that whatever is changes happening on the production should be acknowledged back to primary database. Okay, this is one thing. So this is very simple how you can modify your synchronization levels in the database. Okay. Now we're looking at some other useful command that we can use using a DGMGRL. So there is one command called show database verbose hyphen print. So our production database is primary database. Okay. So there are multiple properties that are defined for any database using this command called show database verbose, then prim. Prim is your database. So there are multiple properties like DG connection identifier. What is your observer connected identifier? So we'll observer and fast start failure will be discussing in the upcoming lectures. There will be something called log skipping, it should be on. And then there is called redo routes, then log xpt mode, it should be synced in our case, like for doing the maximum availability mode, maximum protection modes. Then maximum failure, what is the time limit of maximum failure? What is the reopen seconds, within how many seconds it will RFS will try to reopen the channel for archive movement? Okay, redo shippings. And then net timeout, what is the net timeout? Okay, redo compression, whether it is enabled. So redo compression is basically compressing your redo and transmitting over the network with a smaller set of files. So if suppose your network bandwidth is smaller and there is a huge requirement of archive system, so you can use this option also. So this is a resource intensive operation. CPU will be consumed during the compression option using a disabling. So there are multiple things that you can identify. There is something called top weight event also in this. So top weight event also you can monitor. So using this command called so database prim. So prim is your primary database identifier that we have used. Sorry, in this so database prim, then you have to give the double quoted. This see, you can see the top set of weight event that in the database. So first is IPC message class lives, SQLnet message. So this way also you can monitor your database also using the DGMGRL. So there are multiple things you can do through DGMGRL. So I thought why not discuss this also. So this is one thing that you can do with it. So next we can, using the SQLPlus prompt also, we can modify protection modes. So this is a simple thing you can do. So here this is a command alter database set standby database to maximize availability. So your protection mode will be changed from maximum protection to maximum availability. So here you can see it is modified. So I hope this is simple and easy to understand. And again, you using these parameters and all, you can check. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this lecture, and you have understood how protection modes and what is the behavior of protection mode and how it works, how we can modify. So guys, I hope you have understood everything, and thanks for watching. But before going further, I will be requesting you to subscribe my channel so that you can keep on getting all these updates. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. This is a very interesting YouTube channels where you will be getting all the stuffs free of cost. And in upcoming days there will be more such interesting videos, like we'll be doing the golden gate related stuffs also, and we'll be doing like many more concept like performance tuning. Everything will be covering in upcoming days. So you can also refer the or some of the popular videos also, like Oracle 19c rack database installation on Linux platform. So guys, you just subscribe the channel, and if you have understood everything from today's video, you just like press on like button. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.